Now let's take a study of coordinate geometry a step further. So what are Cartesian coordinates? How to actually locate any point on the coordinate plane. And the position of any point is denoted by its coordinate, which are known as the Cartesian coordinates. So this represents the x-axis. This is the horizontal line, and we have seen the horizontal scale on the coordinate plane is known as the x-axis. Similarly, the vertical line or the vertical scale is known as the y-axis. So x-axis is the horizontal scale and y-axis is the vertical scale on the coordinate plane. Now, putting these two axes together, what we get is the coordinate plane. So this represents the coordinate plane which has got x-axis and the y-axis, x-axis being the horizontal line and y-axis being the vertical line. The point at which they intersect is known as origin. We make measurement from this point. So we have earlier seen that the point of intersection of the x-axis and the y-axis is known as origin, and this is actually the reference point. All the measurements of any point on the coordinate plane is done with regard to this point, which is origin. So origin acts as a standard point or the reference point. Now the coordinate plane has got the x-axis and the y-axis, and we say that these two together constitute the coordinate plane. These are just like two number lines put together. How? Let's try to see that. Let us say that this is the x-axis, or this is actually a horizontal number line. We can clearly see there are real numbers denoted on this number line. Similarly, we have a vertical number line. So all the real numbers are denoted on this line. Now this is the 0 of x-axis and this is the 0 of y-axis. Now if we put these two lines together such that the zeros of the x-axis and the y-axis coincide with each other, then this becomes the coordinate plane with the x-axis and the y-axis and the point of intersection being the origin. Now let us say that this is the coordinate plane and this represents the horizontal line, which is the x-axis, and this vertical line is y-axis. Now we haven't mentioned the points on y-axis because we are particularly interested right now in the x-axis. Let's exclusively observe the x-axis. Now we can see that this is the origin and there are numbers on the right hand side of 0 and there are numbers on the left hand side of 0. Now if we move on the x-axis towards the right side of 0, we see that the numbers are positive. Also the value of x increases. So x actually represents the numbers on the x-axis, and as we move towards the right hand side, the value of x increases and it is positive. Now if we move towards the left hand side, we see that the value of x decreases. From year to year the value of x actually decreases, and when it crosses the origin, the values of x start becoming negative. So what we can say is, on the left hand side we have the negative values and on the right hand side we have the positive values. If we move towards the right hand side, the value of x increases, and if we move towards the left hand side, the value of x decreases. So this is all about the x-axis of the coordinate plane. Now let us see about the y-axis of the coordinate plane. So we have marked all the numbers on the y-axis. The numbers above the 0 are all positive, and these are placed in an increasing order. Similarly, the numbers below the 0 are all negative and these are in decreasing order. Now if we move upwards, then the value of y increases. So whenever we move upwards, the value of y would increase, and when we move downwards, the value starts decreasing, and after the 0 it starts becoming negative. So all the values below the 0 are negative and all the values above the 0 are positive. Also if we move upwards, we see that the value of y increases, and when we move downwards, the value of y decreases. So this is the nature of the x-axis and the y-axis in particular. Now writing the coordinates of any point. Now let us say that we have any point P and we want to write the coordinates of this point. Now we have two numbers over here separated by a comma. The first number would be called as the abscissa or the x coordinate, and the second number would be the ordinate. So abscissa and ordinate together constitute the coordinates of any point, let us say P, and abscissa is always written first and it is followed by the ordinate, and these two are separated by a comma. Now abscissa is actually the horizontal distance of any point from the y-axis. This we have already seen in the first lecture, that abscissa or the x-coordinate represents the horizontal distance of any point from the y-axis, and similarly ordinate represents the vertical distance of any point from the x-axis. So abscissa is the horizontal distance and ordinate is the vertical distance of any point from the two axes. So once again, we write coordinates in this manner. We always write the abscissa first and it is followed by the ordinate, and these two are actually separated by a comma. Abscissa is nothing but the horizontal distance of any point from the y-axis, and ordinate represents the vertical distance of any point from the x-axis. Now, let's try to see how to actually locate any point on the coordinate plane. Now, let us say that this is a rectangular grid and this is very much similar to a coordinate plane. Now, there's a boy which is standing at the origin. Let us say that this is the origin or the starting point, and we have blocks horizontally and we have blocks vertically placed. Now, the instruction is move the boy to 3, 5. So we have to move this boy to 3, 5. Now where is this point? So this boy moves this way. So finally this point represents 3, 5. How? Let us see. This boy moved 3 blocks in the horizontal direction. So abscissa is 3. So the horizontal distance that this boy covered is 3 units. And 5 is the vertical blocks he has to cover. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this boy covered 3 blocks horizontally and 5 blocks vertically. Similarly, let us say that we have to move the boy to 5, 5. Now earlier we moved the boy to 3, 5. Now we have to move the boy to 5, 5 from the origin. Now let us say that once again this boy is standing at the origin and he moves to this point. This represents the point 5, 5. Now if we look at the abscissa of this point, then it is 5. So this boy covered 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again the ordinate of this point is 5. So it covered 5 more blocks, but in the vertical direction now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thus this boy reaches a point 5, 5. So this is actually very much similar to our coordinate plane, where we have this as the x-axis and here this as the y-axis. So if we have to move to any point like 5, 5, we have to cover 5 units in the x direction and we have to cover 5 units in the y direction.